Hey guys, it is my Sheree Rose. This is actually my first time on YouTube Live, but I wanted to come to you guys to give you some very good information. I want to talk to you guys today about the top 3 things you are going to need to make your fuel more efficient for your fleet. If you know of anyone who is a fleet owner and they're looking to just make sure they're getting all of the data that they're needing to make their fleet or the fuel go faster go further actually, because we all know that right now we are dealing with crisis with all of the fuel going up, and we want to make sure that we are doing exactly what we need to when it comes to being efficient. Okay, so hey Johnny, how are you? So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off by giving you those top 3 things. So right off the back, I'm going to give you the top 3 things, and then we'll go into detail about what those 3 things are. If you do not know me, my name is Maestri Rose. I'm the trucker's accountant, and I help trucking fleet companies to scale their businesses to millions and beyond. With my 7-figure roadmap, and of course, so they can put their businesses on autopilot and pay the least amount of money in taxes. That's all that to say that I help individuals to scale their trucking companies. So I'm talking today about what are the top 3 things you need to make your fuel efficient for your fleet. So the first thing is you want to evaluate it, and you're going to evaluate it by, I call this my G in my GPS method. You're going to evaluate it by looking at what your data says for your fleet now. So if you have, let's say you have 5 trucks, I want you to pull the information and the numbers from those 5 trucks, and you're going to see what each truck was doing each month, and you can evaluate, are they doing the same or are they not? Do you see any outliers? Is there one truck that he's running the same load but he's spending additional money compared to another truck? So you want to think of it in that way, looking for outliers. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, so that is the weaknesses. I want you to compare one year to the next. Okay, you do this because you get the data on do you have any outliers? Are there any truck drivers stealing from you? And then you just want to tighten this process up. So next we move on to the P. Now with the P, this is where you're going to actually calculate how to increase your profit margins by, of course, increasing your revenue by calculating the most efficient way to do it. So I'm gonna break it down really quick for you, but I do have a worksheet that I have, and you can actually get it. It'll break down everything for you. When you are calculating what you need, it'll say how much you need to calculate per load, and what fuel you need to release to that particular driver. So that's a whole nother live, but I wanted to let you guys know that is actually available for a free download, and it's available to you immediately. We are releasing it in July. If you are wanting that, make sure you go to my profile and get on the email list so we can put you on that email list, and just type in that check box for the email list. That's the fuel efficiency worksheet, and we will get that over to you. So with the profits, once you have the fuel efficiency worksheet, you know exactly what you need to make sure you're not spending too much in fuel. Okay, so you figured out that process. You know exactly. You don't want to give the driver too much. I recommend that to my clients. What I tell my clients is that instead of going in and C. Davis says, what profile? Oh, so this is YouTube. So I would say go to my IG. I have my IG. You can go right to the link and click it in the bio, and it'll have it in there. But I will place it in here after this live so that you guys have access to it. Okay, so with the P, you have you calculated it, you know exactly what you want to give to your driver. I recommend doing it one load at a time. What that does is it allows you to make sure you know what your drivers are doing per load. So you're going to calculate what you need to give to your drivers. And then once you calculate what you need to give to your drivers, I always add on an additional $50 to $60 for a contingency. What if something happens? So you add that on just in case something happens. Now, this doesn't include the deadhead miles, because you're going to be doing all of that in that worksheet that I'm giving out. But this is if the driver actually he's fueling up, so you make sure that he's doing that correctly, and then you give that $50 to $60 contingency. That is what you release to him on the fuel card. So now that you have that, you go to the system portion, which is the S, and then that is what is that process that you have your driver to do. So not the driver, the back end portion. So the process would be what we just talked about. First, you are going to calculate, well, you get the load, then you're going to calculate the fuel efficiency and what you need to get to your driver, and then add on that contingency of $50 to $60 just in case something goes wrong. And then once you add that on, you're going to release the funds to your driver. Now, if you are a fleet company and you have a certain approval process that you have to go through, a lot of my clients, what we definitely practice is that your driver cannot get the next load. Any information that has to do with his next load, he does not get until he turns in the BOL. And that also will help you with, until the BOL is turned in, you do not get your next fuel release. So that helps you to really hone in on where the fuel is going, and if it's not going, when you will be able to look back at the data to say, okay, well, we've been giving out this much fuel. If you have fuel cards, you can print that report and see how much fuel you've been giving out a year from now, and compare it to say, okay, last year this is why this was it, and then compare it to the previous years. You want to be able to do that. And then last but certainly not least would be, you want to make sure that your drivers are not, one, stealing from you, or two, making unnecessary purchases, or making unauthorized purchases. Okay, so if you guys do not have some type of block on the fuel cards for your drivers and your fleets, make sure you have some type of restriction, some type of authorization. If you trust your drivers, I wouldn't say give them all, they have all the authorization, but I do recommend, if we are all being million-dollar trucking companies, multi-million-dollar trucking companies, you want to start operating in a certain manner. So you create these rules that across the board. So you make sure that everyone does that particular thing. So if you're just joining me, we're talking about the top 3 things that you need to make sure that your fuel is more efficient for your fleet. And those things are, one, you want to evaluate your fuel, looking at where do you want to go. So evaluate it and see what has happened in the past. What has happened in the past? Once you see what has happened in the past, was there driver number or truck number 1 and 2 did the same amount of fuel, but truck number 3 did double the amount of fuel, but he went the same distance as the other 2. That could tell you that there's been some unauthorized transactions or purchases that your driver may have made. So you get to look at those things. And those things are very important. Those things have always been important, but now that fuel cost is on a rise, these things will be you have to make sure that you're counting all of these things and taking them into account. So I don't want you to think that yes, we need to start thinking about saving on the fuel, and that is all a part of a strategy that I give to my clients. But we also need to start putting systems in place financially, financial reports in place, so that it's a telltale sign. Those are your key performance indicators on what you want to do. If you are just starting off, you may not have all of that information at once. So just continue to take those small steps, watch my videos, so you can get the information that's needed on how to take your, your $500,000 company to that $1 million company, or your $2 to $3 million company to that $5 to $6 million company, just with your fleet of trucks. But you got to make sure that you are efficient in every single way and being strategic about it, because you want to be able to weather the storm right now that is about to happen. I'm going to tell you, the larger corporations, when things happen like this is when they get bigger, because they're able to swallow the smaller companies. You do not want to be one of the smaller companies that go out of business simply because you're putting your head in the sand and you're not looking at the overall picture of your business. Now, if you're in business just to be a mom and pop business, then great. But if you're in business to be a multi-million-dollar business, to pass it along to the next generations, you're going to have to pay attention to these things. You're going to have to work and do the things that the larger corporations are doing, maybe on a smaller scale, so that you can take it to the next level. You can't play small. You can't think small. You have to think long-term forecasting, weathering the storm, cutting things where they need to be cut, but don't cut the necessary things. You have to make sure that you're being strategic about it. So if you guys are in need of a strategy on how do I weather this storm, I have my trucking company and I have these millions coming in, but I'm not quite sure that I am really doing what I need to do with the money, or if I am making the right decisions or the buying decisions for the equipment that we're purchasing, or is it time for me to start to put my employees on a benefit packet? Can I offer 401k? I would like to increase my employee retention. Things like that, to strategize or just to identify what those weaknesses are in your business. That is what we do. If you're interested, I would love to learn more about your business and see if we are a good fit. The first thing you're going to do is just go to my link. Someone was asking about the link. It is on IG, and that link it'll go to, if you want to work with me and you fill out an application. In that application, you're going to answer some questions. I got to know what's going on with your business. And then if we're a good fit, you'll then get a approval for the application. And then you'll get a link to go ahead and book a call with me. And then we can go deeper into what services will be good for you and how we can help to thrive, to take your trucking company to the next level and increase your profit margins where you may not been able to increase those profit margins, or increasing your cash flow, or even, setting aside time. Some of us are a little leery about what's going on now. So do you have a plan? Are you setting aside emergency funds for a month? Are you setting aside emergency funds for 3 months? Are you doing 6 months? Are you setting aside funds just in case things happen? And I'm here to tell you that things are going to happen. So you have to be strategic about it. You can't just put your head in the sand and hope that it's going to work out. Okay, so like I said, if you're interested in the worksheet, I have a worksheet that I help you to calculate what each one of your trucks you should be releasing on your fuel to your driver, because we want to make sure that we are being as efficient as possible. Okay, so once you get the calculations, the next thing that I would say is that who is doing this for you? This could be an admin. This could be you could be doing it. But whoever's doing it, make sure that they have that down and it is a part of the steps. Remember to write down your steps, because you think you know that everyone knows everything. But if everyone in your business if your staff cannot regurgitate what your mission and what your company is, you need to be able to give that to them. So these are the things that you want to make sure that you're adding in to become that true CEO. All right, I just went on a whole rant just because I be loving it and I be trying to give y'all all the knowledge. If you're looking to, if you're not my friend, we need to be friends. I'm on Facebook as the Truckers Accountant, IG as the Truckers Accountant, and LinkedIn. This is my first time doing a YouTube live. I will be trying it out a little bit more. I normally go live on IG. I'll be going live on there today at 4. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to giving you more information. Bye.